9 years ago, Englishman Max Mosley was elected to the most powerful job in international motorsport, the president of the FIA, the governing body. And Max, a heck of a lot's happened in your time. Are you happy?
On the whole, yes. I think the main thing has been trying to keep the safety moving, get improvements there. Still not as good as we'd like, but it's an awful lot better.
Now, you've just exploded a massive bombshell in motorsport with the news that as a result of this long-running dispute there's been between the FIA and the European Union, you're withholding European Grand Prix licenses for Formula One events next year. What's that all about?
Well, it hasn't got quite that far yet. What it's really all about is that the Competition Commission in Brussels, or the Competition Department of the Commission, really want to make two huge changes to the way motorsports run in the EU. One is they say there shouldn't just be one governing body per country, as we've always had, like, say, the RACMSA in the UK, but multiple governing bodies that anybody who wants to set up can issue licenses, license circuits and so on, rather like in world boxing, and of course the same thing internationally. We say that's quite unacceptable.
That would be anarchy, wouldn't it?
Well, it would. You see, the trouble is that they love this idea of competing bodies, but the only way you could compete in motorsport was who had the least safety requirements, because whoever made it least safe would be cheapest. That's exactly what we're trying to avoid. So that's the first big quarrel. The second big quarrel is they say that the television and other commercial rights for each Grand Prix should belong to the organizer. Now, we're quite happy with that if it was just a Formula One race, but if it's part of our Formula One World Championship, we think those rights belong to us, rather like the rights to the Olympic Games belong to the International Olympic Committee.
Well, now, in a situation like this, Max, you always nervously wonder, does this affect me? Does this mean the British Grand Prix at Silverstone gets the old heave-ho as well?
If the European governments allow the European Commission to interfere in the running of our sport to this degree, yes, it could come to that. But what we hope is that the relevant governments, British included, and of course even ordinary people writing in, they will realise you simply can't do this. You cannot have a lot of unelected bureaucrats in Brussels interfering in an absurd and gross way with the sport.
We seem to live in some pretty turbulent times at the moment. There have been suspicions for 2 or 3 years that some teams are using some hidden kind of traction control. Why has it taken the FIA as long as it has to get after it and do something?
Well, we've been after it and doing something constantly, and we're always forever stopping people doing things, but of course we don't tell the other teams. With one team in particular is very suspicious about another top team in Australia. Now, we know we've stopped it, but we can't tell the team who are suspicious because it would be breaching confidence. We are totally on top of it. The reason we've taken these rather dramatic steps is that evidence emerged that somebody did something last year that we didn't spot, and something really quite serious. And when I heard that, I said to our people, we've got to go a whole order of magnitude harder on this, because we must be certain that we know what's going on.
Major team or a minor team?
Middle ranking. Yes.
No names, no pack drum.
Dan.
Formula One is booming, enormous actual audiences and gigantic television audiences all around the world. Can you see it plateauing anywhere?
I hope not. It's been, traditionally, it was always the countries where there was a driver or a circuit or a car that followed Formula One. Now we're getting countries where none of those are present, following it in huge numbers, and there is no reason why it can't go on getting even bigger and even better.
Thank you, Max. Don't leave us, we need you.
You're very kind.
Respect, Max.
Yes, we should do all this. This is like Ali G.
Don't know about Ali G, but how much respect have you got for that stance?
Enormous amount of respect. I think it's 110% the way to go. You've got to stop the spread of all these gizmos. And as Max Mosley has said, it has to remain a human contest. Otherwise, you're detracting from what the driver can do. And it's all about the drivers. Yes, the cars as well. Go too far with all the electronics, we're losing it. Simple as that.
Thank you.